Hey guys, today I wanted to talk about if it is your goal to generate a lot of income, so you actually create it. So this is not your assets working for you. This is not investments. This is you are choosing a career path to maximize your income. This is one way that I think is very beneficial to think about that scenario. Okay. So if the goal is to generate as much income as possible, you have to make yourself unique, and it comes down to experience and knowledge. So, whoever has the most experience and knowledge and can execute on that, they most likely, there's going to be a very strong correlation that they will make more money, right? Because, like, imagine this as an example. Like, say for me, when I went to Nando's and I was going into the hospitality industry, day one, on my very first shift, right? It was only a 4 hour shift, and where was I assigned? I was assigned straight to the dishes, right? Because I had no other experience, but I could clean, right? And was I good at the dishes? Was I fast at the dishes? I was extremely slow, right? So I didn't even have experience to understand the pace required to scrub the dishes, right? So my very first day, um, it was like I was down here, right? So, right here at this red line, this is 0 hours, right? And then on the right hand side, there's a scale here, and you can see at the top, it keeps on going higher and higher and higher and higher. So, when I joined on the very first day, if I were to ask myself, where am I in terms of experience in this standalone restaurant? I'm literally the bottom of the bottom, right? So I am in the bottom like 1%. It means like every single person, 99% of people here are more experienced and more knowledgeable than me at hospitality, right? And then over time, as I stay there longer and longer and longer and longer, I'm gaining that knowledge, I'm gaining that experience, right? So it starts to trend upwards. Let's draw it in here. So the longer I stay, right, I'm getting more knowledge and more experience. And now, this is not an exact science, but this relates heavily to Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers book, where he says, like, to master anything, you probably need to put in 10,000 hours, okay? So that would look like this. Now, we've got also time down the bottom here. It doesn't really have to take that long to get 10,000 hours in. 10,000 hours sounds like a huge number, but if you're doing 10 hours a day, right, for what, a year, let's just say you do 300 to make the math easy. 300 days a year you're working, 10 hours a day. That's 3,000. So you roughly do 3 years, 3.5 years. You're going to get your 10,000 hours in. Now, the goal here is we have to identify our path in life. And we got to figure it out. And it's not so easy. And some people, you're just going to get luckier than other people, right? It is a lot of luck involved. At the end of the day, it is kind of like we're rolling the dice. So it relates to when Naval Ravikant talks about in his video here how to get rich. I highly, highly recommend watching this one. So it's a 3 hours and 35 minute podcast. It's about how to get rich without getting lucky. I highly recommend you listen to it. And what he talks about is the idea of playing long-term games, right? Because the longer the game you can play, if you can stick around in that path, right? If you can get your 10,000 hours in, right? That's a pretty long-term game. You are now becoming unique. You're now becoming one of one. So imagine this: if we're just focusing on the hours here, 10,000 hours, right? Let's just say that's 3 to 4 years of going quite hard. Now, if I was had 0 hours in, I'm the bottom of the bottom, right? I'm the bottom 1%. If I did like say 3,000 hours, the average turnover in hospitality is 100% per year. So I'm probably gonna be in the upper half of people now in terms of their experience in hospitality. A lot of people come into the industry, they don't like it, and they leave within the first year, right? And they're never coming back to it. It does take a certain type of person to like hospitality, because it's a long struggle until you get to, you know, where it actually becomes very, very rewarding, right? So I would say, yeah, at around the 5,000 hour mark is when you're at least, obviously I don't know the exact numbers, but you're at least in that top half now. Now, if you get your 10,000 hours in the industry, that's 3 to 4 years dedicated, you're probably in the top 10% now of people, right? And then if you get your 20,000 hours, your 30,000 hours, your 40,000 hours, your 50, your 60, your 70. And now what are you feeling right now when I say these big numbers? What are you feeling? When I say 50,000 hours, what do you feel? There's a high chance, a large percentage of you feel quite anxious. It's quite a scary thought, isn't it? It is quite a scary thought, and I'm with you. I'm with you. But that's why our goal is to identify which game can we play the longest and think deeply about it. So there's two ways to be thinking about this. We need to take a step back, have some time off for ourselves to really, really reflect. Hey, Dylan Weston, can I really play this game where I am currently? Is there a pathway for me to keep on compounding my knowledge? Can I actually stay the course? Can I get my 10,000, my 20,000, my 30,000 hours here? Yes or no? If you can't, it might be best to quit quickly and then change paths and test out the other thing, right? And then think deeply about it. And you're never going to know 100%, right? And it is overwhelming, but you can't just now sit here and procrastinate and do nothing. You got to try it. Hey, make a list of the 3 areas where you think you might be able to, stay on the path and stay for as long as possible. Give it your all, and then as soon as you feel like it's just not right for me, stay another month or so. Be open-minded. You don't want to quit too quickly, but if that feeling is still there, it's just not for you, there is nothing wrong with failing quickly, cutting the loss. It's like investing. Cut the losses quick. Move to the next thing, right? Move to the next thing. And, this kind of relates to even like university and stuff like that. I don't know how we, as young kids, are supposed to know, can we do this for 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 hours? This thing. We haven't even tested it at all, right? It's so odd. We jump into an education, we take it out a loan for this path. We haven't even, done any experience at all. We haven't, wouldn't it be a lot better to shadow someone for a couple of weeks first before we actually took out that debt? I believe so. So that's how we should be thinking about it. Another thing to just be aware of is the more you pay attention, right? The more you pay attention and focus and think smart and acquire that knowledge in your industry, the faster, 10,000 hours, you could put in an hour, right? But everyone's hours is not the same. So as an example, when I was first a dishwasher at Nando's, I was washing the dishes to the best of my ability. After 2, 3 days, once I thought I mastered, I figured out my little systems. And then my focus was, I'm scrubbing, I'm washing, but I'm looking over in the back kitchen, watching how the burger bench works, looking at the individual positions. How's the chips work? How do people read the dockets? How are the dockets ordered, right? All right, it comes out of this machine, but sometimes they go on the left, sometimes they go on the right. Why is that, right? And I'm just looking and I'm learning and I'm observing. So then when it's my time, they're like, hey, great job on the dishes. You're real quick. Let's get you onto the burgers now. When I jump onto the burgers, I already got a head start. Because I've been watching, I've been observing. So then I'm going to progress quicker. And when what happened to me was within roughly 2 months, I knew how the whole entire back kitchen worked. I knew how the whole thing worked. And within 3 months, there was some people that came to help our store from a different store, and they were asking how long, Dylan, have you been working here? You're that quick. They honestly thought I had 4 or 5 years experience, but I was brand new from zero within 3 months. Um, so that's kind of the mindset. So yeah, you just got two things. You got thinking what's my path for me, and you got trial and error. You just got to try it, and just don't get caught up in comparison, right? Don't compare yourself to someone else. If someone has said like, I love my job and all of this, well, most of the time they're probably fooling themselves, right? Because no one wants to tell the truth. Like, hey, actually, I don't really like my job. Hey, I actually got all this massive loan for my education to get into this field. Yeah, I love my job, but deep down inside, they're actually clenching. So I see that a lot. I sense it. So don't trust people by what they say. Sometimes, it's just a mask. It's just a facade. Don't trust it. All right. Be true to yourself. It's no race because you do to a certain degree want to get this done as quick as possible because it's based on time, right? It's the compound effect. The more time you have, like if you invest earlier on in life at 18 compared to if you invest later on, you get way more reward because it's the compound effect. It's the snowball effect. So the goal is to do it quickly, but don't compare yourself to others. Comparison is the thief of joy. Don't forget that, right? Because if you eventually maximize and find your path where you can put in your hours and you can be number one, right? You can be the best. So when you look around you in your general area, you're number one. You don't be number one in the world, right? You don't be number one in the world, but you're up there. You're really, really up there. You're in the top 1%. If you can find your path by age 40 and have already gotten in, tens of thousands of hours, really pushing, 10, 20, 30,000 hours. From 40, even if you have no money at 40, from 40 to 50, you can really make, millions of dollars, millions and millions and millions of dollars, and you can really, really maximize it. What Naval Ravikant also talks about in how to get rich without getting lucky is if you can choose some of these skill sets, get this experience in like multiple things, now you even become even more rare. Like, I think one of his examples, if I can remember correctly, is like, imagine a basketball player, right? He's playing basketball, he becomes number one, right? Great, great job. But then, imagine he then gains the skill of leadership, educating people, training people, communicating. If he gains this, then what's he setting himself up for? He can be a coach in the future as well, right? Or imagine he's not number one basketball player. He's not even good enough to get into the NBA, right? Obviously, extremely hard to get in the NBA. But imagine he's in a league where you don't really get paid much. Let's just say it's under $50,000 a year, right? So it's not really a proper salary. But there's ways that maybe you're not personally the best at playing the game, but if you're the best at coaching, right? You understand the game in your head and you know how to get the most out of people. There's probably a way to become a top tier coach, right? So, like, see how I'm thinking about this? So, you'll want to gain, in a way, but when people say you don't want to be a jack of all trades, I think you kind of actually do, but you want to master as many as possible. And you want to become really well rounded. And then when you master all of these things, you actually become one of one. You become extremely rare, right? You can become extremely rare in the marketplace and you're going to capitalize and you're going to make a lot of money, a lot of money. So just going back to this chart here, this is 10,000 hours. Look, we said we can get that in like 4 years-ish, 3 to 4 years. So what does that mean? That means it's possible. 10,000 hours, it's possible to go up to 100,000 hours. Why not? Why not? Look at the guys like Charlie Munger, right? Charlie Munger from Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's business partner. He was working all the way up until sadly he passed away at age 99. I'm pretty sure he got more than 10,000 hours in, right? A lot more. I would actually love to know the number. He's probably, him and Warren Buffett. There's probably not many people in the world of investing that've got as many hours as them, right? Thinking, playing the game, investing. So I'm very fortunate, in my, I believe, like I can see like, look at Warren Buffett, look at Charlie Munger. I believe I can be somewhat like them and just stay forever. I'm quite confident in myself. Obviously, things change, and we as humans change. But I've done the deep thinking and I've made the choice. I honestly believe I can keep playing the game I'm playing now as an investor all the way until I'm very like I'm in old age. I'm going to keep on doing it and keep on doing it and keep on doing it. I might change my mind, all right, and I might retire or whatever. But it's not a thing where I'm gonna change to something else straight away. Um, so when you are changing to something else, you got to be kind of careful because at the end of the day, our time on this planet Earth is finite. At the end of the day, it's a scary a feeling. It's really scary, but you're gonna have to accept it. If your goal is to make a lot of income, you probably have to accept it. So that's why it's not wise. It's not wise to bullshit yourself and say, hey, yeah, this path that I'm on right now, yeah, it's great. It's great. Because if you're lying to yourself, you're gonna burn out and eventually your emotions are gonna overtake you. And what are you gonna do? You're gonna quit. And then if you quit, there's a high percentage chance you have to start in a new industry, potentially in a new industry, you start from zero. Right. And if you start from zero, you're all the way down in the marketplace. You have no value. So that's why I'm a big proponent of fail fast, test, especially while you're young. Just hammer it out. Be open minded as well. Don't be so negative, like, I don't think this is going to be right for me. You know, most likely they're not going to be right. It's like dating. Trying to find the woman of your dreams. You're extremely lucky if the first woman you date is the one. Extremely lucky. And that could happen. That could happen with your job. It could. But you just got to understand you did get lucky here. So that's why I'm saying don't compare yourself to others. If you're still trying to figure out what your path is in your 30s or potentially even later on in life, it's all right. It's all right. But I really hope for you can find that path because I know if you find it within 10 years, you can make millions and millions of dollars if that's your goal. So remember two things. Think deeply. Think where can I go? A question that I like to put in my head is could I potentially be the CEO of this industry or this industry or this industry? Or who is a person could see myself being, right? And don't make it like, hey, like, oh, I love to be Elon Musk because he's the richest guy in the world. Think about what's his life look like. His life sucks. He's got that many companies going. He's got that many headaches going. Have you seen that map of him where he's flying, like his flight routes? He's just going bang, 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 back and forth. I think he flies more than once a day. Like, I think his average is, I'm pretty sure, is above 300. It's like 300 to 500 flights a year or something. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Right. I know I'm personally not cut out for that. All right. So think, hey, who do I want to be? Is there anyone around me in my personal life? I would like to be them. I'll be happy with that life. You don't have to know 100%, but that might be a sign you might want to test that industry. Or is there someone on the internet you might want to replicate, but think deeply about what it entails? I've said before when I was young, I'd love to be Elon Musk. How silly of me. How silly of me. As I've gotten more mature, and I've developed my thinking, mate, there's not a chance I want to be Elon Musk. Not an absolute chance. Okay? And then, so that's the first thing, think deep. Second thing, trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. Don't stay too long, please. Don't stay too long, please. It's okay. And now, you know, You will have to start from zero most of the time when you change the jobs, and that's a scary thing. But it's just humility. Come in it with humility. Don't compare yourself to others. Start from scratch and just know if you find, like, not many people find their path where they're really going to dedicate 10,000 hours and not just be a zombie there. A lot of people do 10,000 hours in some jobs, some careers, but they're 10,000 hours with their minds switched off, just being zombies, all right? You don't want to be that person. You want to be constantly thinking, how do I improve? How do I maximize this hour? If I put 1 hour into this job, how much is my experience going up by? Right? If you wash dishes for 10,000 hours, like where's the point where you already hit the limit of experience? Right? You don't need 10,000 hours as a dishwasher. Okay? So don't switch off. Once you feel you're comfortable, go to your boss and say, hey, I want to go up. How can I add value to get this new position or to get more pay? What do I need to do? Bosses, they're always looking for that person to put their hand up because those people who are willing to progress and willing to do whatever it takes, they're in rare supply as well. So when you change jobs, yeah, you might have to start from zero, all right? But at the same time, I'll be thinking a lot of people they were saying, yeah, I love my job, they're faking it. They're gonna get burnt out, and they will have to start from zero potentially later than you. So don't be upset about it, all right? It takes a strong person to admit, hey, I'm not on the right path. I'm gonna reset. I'm gonna find a new path. I think Naval talks about it as well. You know, like you're climbing up, right? You're climbing up like this. You're chosen a path, you're climbing up. And then you realize when you look up here, this is like a mountain, right? You're looking up at this mountain, you're like, wait, I don't know how to get to the 20,000 hours at the top here from this path. I need to now go back down again, right? I need to go back down again, go down, reevaluate which path here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, it's the fifth path. That's probably the best path, right? That's the one that gets me there. And they, came back down. It's bad because you're going behind. You're going backwards when you go back down the path, right? Society might judge you, right? But don't worry about what they say, right? You sit down here at zero. You think, you think, you think. You reevaluate and you try your best effort to choose the right path to get to the top of the mountain. That's what you do, right? And you might only get 3/4 of the way this time. It's all right. You may need to come back down and start again. Or sometimes, if you're lucky, there is another path, but you need to do a slight pivot. A slight pivot. And that's the best. When you're choosing a path to take in life, I believe it's super important to evaluate what skills am I going to learn and can these skills be brought over? Is there a high percentage chance that these skills translate to something else? So as an example, with hospitality, what I love about hospitality, and I believe everybody should give it a crack while they're young, is for me, like when I was doing my first shift as a dishwasher, right? It was only a 4-hour shift. Time felt like it was 40 hours. It felt like I'd gone 2 days, right? It's like I'd gone through the whole night without any sleep. The 4 hours felt like 40 hours. It was the most boring work. Time felt so slow. But over time, I learnt how to enjoy washing the dishes. And eventually it became a game, and I became passionate about washing dishes. Even to this day, I love washing the dishes, pumping them out. It's like you're going to war against all of these, I keep thinking it's Lord of the Rings. These orcs are attacking me, and I just need to wash them. Got these little magic spells, make them clean. And then into the dishwasher and out. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Pump it out, right? I learnt that key lesson in life. You don't need to be, you don't need to have, you don't have to, when you're choosing a path, it doesn't have to be what you're passionate about. Sometimes you can actually develop your passion. Now, that doesn't mean there's no value to trying to do something you're passionate about. There could be, right? But you can become passionate about almost anything if you are good at that task, right? So, like, imagine if you become passionate about some sort of sport. Like if there's a sport that you really like playing, why is it? Like if you're thinking about, I don't know, cricket, baseball, t-ball, badminton. For me, in cricket, every time someone bowls the ball to me, when it bounces, it just messes with my head and I struggle to hit the ball. In t-ball, which is similar to baseball, it's on the ball's on the tee. I don't know why, when I swing, I'll always slice the ball. In baseball, when it's coming at me, woo, it's the best feeling. They're chucking it real hard at me with a lot of force, and then boom, she's gone. She's gone, right? It's quite similar to cricket and baseball, right? If you think about it. But for some reason, whatever reason, the bounce messes with my head. I just suck at it. Baseball's a little bit different, so I'm a little like this. Out of all those sports so far, I like baseball the most. Am I the most passionate about any of them? No, but I lean towards baseball. Side stories, like, when I went to Tokyo, they got some baseball cafes, and you get to go on the nets, and there's the automatic machines. I had a great time there. Had a great time just smashing these things, just hitting them, you know? I had to put it on the slower setting because I don't have the reflexes for the medium speed or the fast speed, but I enjoyed it. And then thinking about badminton, I don't know. There's something about that thing where it's just that, what is it, the shuttlecock? She just comes down in a weird fashion. I don't know. And for me, it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not good at it. So I don't like it, right? So generally, we become passionate about things that we are naturally good at, right? The people that love the gym or whatever, it's probably because they're naturally a little bit stronger a lot of the time, or, you can see where I'm going with it, right? Or, who loves running? It's the people who, when they were kids, were naturally probably a little bit better than everyone else. So they have a tendency to enjoy it more. Same thing. So I think it's important when you're thinking about your path, also be aware of the psychological aspect. You want to get wins and you want to progress really, really quick. Because when you start outpacing other people, your peers around you, you actually manufacture that passion. You're like, shit, I'm actually getting good at this. I'm actually getting better than everyone else. I'm actually going faster. That's exactly what happened to me at Nando's. 2 months, I knew how to run the whole back kitchen, right? It takes 3 months to finish your traineeship. And you're barely all right, you're right. Like from the business perspective, they're wasting money training you for the first 3 months. You can't really add that much value in the first 3 months, even if you're going full time. After 3 months, there's a break even. Like that's when they break even, they start making a profit on you, and that's why there's often a 3 month probation period where they can just fire you with no explanation, right? Because at around 2.5 months, they kind of have to make a decision. Hey, is this worth my investment? Yes or no? Should I cut my loss? So I progressed faster than everyone had ever progressed. 2 months, knew the whole thing. Within a couple, like another couple months, I knew how to run the whole front of house. Within 6 months, from zero, I was assistant store manager, could run the whole shop, right? 9 months, I was the store manager. Boom, 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 boom. Constantly getting promoted based on my skill, based on my experience. I'm progressing faster than everyone. What's happening? I'm becoming extremely passionate about this industry and about this job. And that translates all the way until today. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much my thoughts on this. If you haven't already, I highly recommend you watch How to Get Rich Without Getting Lucky. How to Get Rich on YouTube, 3 hours and 30 minutes. I honestly recommend, like, this is like the basics, right? This is the basics, and you might not even be aware of all these basics. There's a chance. Or even if you are, you might need a reminder. So there was a time in my life where I would listen to this every 3 months. If you haven't gone through that and done those reps, I highly recommend you do. You might want to check out the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. You combine all of this together with today's YouTube video, I think there's a high percentage chance you might have a different perspective of the world and your career. So please remember, this is for people who want to maximize their income, right? get paid as much as possible. Um, this is not an investing video. Like, it's an investment into you, but it's not an investing video. Like, this is not for everyone. For most people, I feel like you just got to find somewhere where, it's all right. Get that money, save that money, be disciplined with your money, just invest it and compound it over time. You can actually have a really balanced life. This is not really thinking in a balanced way. This is like, hey, you're out there to get it. You're a go-getter, right? There's no wrong answer. Be honest and truthful to yourself, who you are as a human being. That's what it's about in life. Finding out who you are. Be authentic to yourself. All right, guys, that's pretty much everything for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next one.